Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of human potential. I'm Christine Chen. So here's the age-old question on Esalen Live today. What's the secret to a great relationship? Our guests have stood the test of time and help couples try to do the same. Linda and Charlie Bloom are authors, psychotherapists, and counselors who teach workshops all over the world. They've been doing this for decades. And they've been married for 5 decades, together for 5 decades, married 49, so almost 5 decades. Hi to Linda and Charlie Bloom. How are you today? And welcome to Esalen Live.
I'm doing great, and I'm so pleased to be here with you today.
And
Great
you,
to be here,
Charlie?
Christine.
Good
Yeah.
to see you, Charlie. So, if you're just joining us on Esalen Live, the question is, what's one word to define a great relationship? Put that in the chat and let us know where you're joining from as well. So, 5 decades, Linda and Charlie. I guess everyone always asks you how you do it. Tell us.
Well, the word open-hearted comes to mind, also open-minded, and to live in a relationship fully present with a good work ethic, to be able to learn how to become the partners of our dreams rather than looking for our partners of our dreams, to take the level of responsibility of I am going to use what this relationship tosses up for me to learn to be a more evolved version of myself, to be more compassionate, to be more courageous, to be more resilient, to be more patient. These are qualities that I soon discovered were going to be required of me to be able to manifest the lofty vision that I had of a fabulous relationship.
So, Charlie, why don't you weigh in on this? I want to hear from you. What's your secret on your side of this?
Well, I agree with Linda, particularly the part about having the vision. We often teach by using examples of our own experience. And one of the things that I learned pretty early on was that we're very different people. And, and in the work that we do, I realize that we're not unique in our own uniqueness, that most couples have very strong differences, which is one of the reasons that they are attracted to their complements. But that doesn't make it easy because we also all have the tendency to think that our way of speaking, of doing things, of seeing the world is the right way. Um, and we all have ways to try to convince other people that they should see it our way too. So the ability to manage differences, and they are inevitable in all relationships, is I think one of the most important factors in creating a successful long-term relationship. It's a skill that is developed with practice because so few of us have come into adulthood and into our relationships with a real understanding of what's involved in managing differences.
That's very well said. Hey, if you're just joining us on Esalen Live, we are with Linda and Charlie Bloom, authors, psychotherapists, and counselors who teach workshops all over the world. If you have any questions for them about relationships, or if you want to join the conversation by just giving us one word that defines a great relationship, we'd love to hear from you. Meantime, I want to let you know that Linda and Charlie, we have, I think I'm pronouncing your name right, Matthias from Sweden, and we have Henry from Charleston, South Carolina. Jeanette from Oregon is joining us, and Lynn from San Francisco has joined the chat so far. So thanks, everyone. Oh, look at this. Looks like we've got someone from Hawaii. If it's Aloha, then I'm guessing Todd, it's Hawaii. And then Margaret is joining from Colorado. So thanks, everyone. If you have any questions for Linda and Charlie Bloom, please float them into the chat. You taught your first workshop at Esalen many, many years ago, actually, maybe just like a decade ago. When couples ask you about biggest mistakes they would make, and I'm guessing they come because they want to quote unquote fix the mistakes. I think one of the things that you say is that the biggest mistake is desiring too little. Can you explain that and share more about that?
Well, I'm happy to address it. And in fact, there are people in our field doing therapy and couples counseling who encourage the couples to lower their expectations. That's not my point of view. I think it's fine to reach high and have a grand vision and to have a big expectation for becoming who you can be and having the relationship evolve into what it can be, as long as you have intention and commitment to match the
Hmm.
grand vision that you have.
Linda, let me
And
ask you,
some
what's a
people,
small expectation and what's a big expectation? Can you help us understand those?
yes, to know that we have vast untapped potential. We have intellectual potential, emotional potential, creative potential that we only use a small fraction of. And when we set our sights too low, we we miss a great opportunity to evolve into who we can be. Now, the people who flock around Esalen have a growth orientation, so they're in a special group. But we are always working with the people that we work with to stimulate that visionary in them, to stimulate that creative artist in them, to create ambitious goals for their life, to be working towards being the best version of yourself that you can be, and to mutually support your partner. When a couple makes that kind of a deal that they're going to bring out the best in each other, that's a good deal.
Hmm. Want to say hello to Oklahoma. Jean, I see your question. Hang on. Arkansas. And it looks like we've got two more from Hawaii. Janie Sum, I hope I pronounced your name right. From York, Pennsylvania says compromise is her couple word. Sum also says communication is her couple word. And here's your question, Jean. How do couples rebuild once trust is lost? And this leads me to my question here, which this is a question I think a lot of people ask is what does it mean to be an evolved in a relationship? So does that mean you evolve past once trust is broken? Because that seems to be the thing that may happen in a very long relationship. I mean, no one has a perfect record. Can you share a little bit more about that topic? Evolved relationship and trust, how it plays in and what happens when it's lost.
Yeah, let me take the first question first about trust, because that is probably trust is the foundation of all healthy relationships. Without trust, whatever else you have, it's not going to be enough. So trust is really the primary building block for healthy relationships, and it's as many of us have found out, it's much harder to build strong trust than it is to repair it. However, it can be repaired, even during during times when it appears as though it's irreparable. Um, there are some breakdowns that for whatever reason can't be, but the vast majority of trust violations can be repaired. And one of there's a few steps that we talk about in that process. I mean, just to briefly go over it, the first one is to tell the truth about the fact that the trust has been broken,
Hmm.
and means either the person who's violated the trust acknowledging that, or the person who feels that they have been violated in some way or the trust has been broken by the other person has to acknowledge that that's how they feel. And that's the first step in terms of getting on track to repair what's
Question, Charlie, how
yeah,
do you even approach that in a way that is gentle and mutual? We talk a lot about nonviolent communication in the Esalen
yeah,
universe,
right.
but sometimes when you try to approach this topic, there's a lot of emotion and things can flare, and then somehow it's not a productive conversation. In the rebuilding process, how do we make it productive?
Well, that's such a great question, Christine, because it's not, of course, just about trust where we can get reactive and defensive. But it's anytime there's a breakdown in the relationship, it's very important to be mindful of the way in which you're presenting your concern. All too often, we've seen couples who don't do the ground, they don't lay the groundwork to begin the conversation that needs to be addressed. You have to have a conversation about having the conversation that you want to have first. You know, like there's something that I really would like to talk to you about. Is this a good time? Um, and and then get their agreement right up front. And if they don't agree, then come up with another time that you can have the conversation.
Can you show us with Linda what that looks like? I'm hoping you at home when they're watching on Esalen Live would really appreciate them modeling this so that we could learn this. And if what they're sharing is very helpful for you, please send them a little heart emoji or a little thumbs up emoji and send them a little love. So could you model this for us? Would you mind?
This is a good time for me to talk about it. And I want to address it right away. I don't want it to go underground. And I'm going to pledge to you right now that I'm going to speak to you about how I'm feeling about the trust not being as high as I want it to be in a responsible way. And I'm going on a blame fast. I'm only going to speak to you about my own experience, that I feel hurt and disappointed about the broken agreement.
Which agreement are you talking about?
Yeah, when you said that we were going to spend some time together and then you got preoccupied. And I just want to let you know that
Oh,
it was a
something came up.
small
Something came
infraction.
up,
You're
and
already forgiven. You're already
oh,
forgiven.
good.
You
So
got
there's
a lot of
so I don't have to
credit.
explain anything.
No, you have a lot of
Oh,
credit with
okay, that
me.
was easy.
I just want to tell you that I was disappointed because it was so important for me to spend the time with you. But I'm not blaming you. I'm talking about my own experience, that I was disappointed. And I trust that you want to remedy the situation, and we'll rain check it and have another, we'll have our time together as soon as you possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah? Do you have anything that you need to clear with me?
I did. No. I just want to pause for a second.
Sure, sure.
That probably wasn't a typical situation because I think most of us are not quite that articulate as Linda was.
We've
Let's
had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
let's
Usually
let's do
it's
it.
like this, right? This picture kind of says what
Yeah,
this conversation turns
yeah,
into. How do we
exactly.
avoid this?
Yeah,
I think that's the
yeah,
big question.
yeah. So this here, Christine, I think is it's very obvious by the body language. Um, Neither one of them is a very happy camper right now, and they're both feeling pretty despairing and hopeless and disconnected. And just as with the issue about trust, it's important to tell the truth, first of all, to express it to the other person. This is how I'm feeling right now. I'm really feeling sad. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling hopeless. Um, I really, and I hate feeling this way, and I really would like us to try to make some make some healing occur right now because I am miserable right now, and I'm scared because I'm feeling so hopeless.
Right. So
So
we
it
have a
means
comment
getting
on that.
vulnerable.
Yeah. So I have a comment on that, Amy. I see your comment here. So I would love you to address Amy's inquiry here, and I'll put that up on the screen. That interaction they modeled did not lead either one to feel satisfied. So this is Amy's opinion, and maybe perhaps we can turn it into a question, is what about that interaction that you modeled was satisfying for you? And then maybe it brings up to the point that not all interaction has to look like that or be the same. Could you address Amy's question here?
Yes, the satisfying part for me was being able to go on the record about the disappointment that I had and that the trust fell a little bit because there had been a broken agreement. Would have made it even more wonderful healing is if we had a definite rain check time that we were going to get together and have that date that I was looking forward to. So it was partially satisfying. It wasn't 100% complete, but I trusted that we were going to get there. The most important part to me was that I didn't, like I used to do in the old days when our relationship was too new for me to know better, when I would suck it up and the incompletions would mount up and then they would leak out in other ways. And so we learned that we had to stay on top of those and not, uh, I came to call it candy coat the cesspool, that I wouldn't candy coat or chocolate coat and try to pretend that things weren't out when they really were out. Then, of course, I had to learn how to do it in a responsible, non blamey way.
So I think some of the things that you're talking about probably lead to this term that you have for those you counsel, which is emotional richness. What does that mean?
Mhm.
Um, well, I I guess I would define emotional richness as experiencing a deep emotional, personal connection with another person on a feeling level. People can spend time together and they may be doing the same things, they may be involved in the same activities, but they're not necessarily having a deep emotional connection. Feeling each other's presence, really engaged. I love that picture
Mhm.
because emotional connection doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing something that or not doing something. It means that both of us are really present with our own experience and by extension with each other in a way that we feel that connection. We feel that we're not alone in our world.
And do
Mhm.
you feel it or do you see it? And I guess the idea is like, how do we know that we're doing it quote unquote right? And again, we're with Linda and Charlie Bloom, authors, psychotherapists, counselors who teach workshops all over the world about the secret to a great relationship. If you have one word to describe a great relationship, we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, if this is helping you in any way, please send Charlie and Linda a little bit of love. So, how do we know we're doing that right? This picture that you like so much about feeling emotional connection.
It's a felt sense. There's joy on that young man's face. There's presence with his partner who's so close to him. So that would be exemplary of their having the basic trust, feeling of safety and security that is the foundation of the relationship. But there's an aliveness in that picture that shows us that they're not root bound by too much safety and security, that
Mhm.
there's challenge there that allows for the aliveness. So it takes both. When Charlie walks into a room after 53 years, it still lights up for me. I feel safe. I feel safe. I'm loved as is. I feel secure, but I also know that we'll enjoy some kind of an interchange. I'll probably learn something from him today. Maybe I'll learn a bunch of things from him today. Maybe we'll laugh together today. Maybe we'll, feel extra alive because of the interaction that we have, because of that full presence and the depth of our emotional bond with each other.
So, a few minutes left here, family. As you have any questions for Linda and Charlie Bloom, please ask them. I have a question, and I'm going to pull up a picture. This is not my husband and me, but it could be. I don't know about you at home, but during COVID and maybe even for years before that, I have to reflect on that. Our together time is like binge watching, watching a favorite show together. If that resonates with you, please let us know in the chat. But I want to ask you, as relationship experts, Linda and Charlie, is this togetherness?
Well, looking at the picture, I would say absolutely. Um, Togetherness is not necessarily, like I said earlier, engaged in the same activity in a way that you're both doing something together physically. It's not about physical presence. Many of us discovered over the time of the pandemic, the last 18 months or so, that we can feel more together sometimes on screen than we do in person, sometimes with certain people, depending not upon the physicalness of the positioning of us, but depending upon, again, how present we are with each other. So sometimes we can be together in what seems like um, an environment that makes us feel together, but we may not. We may be sitting together watching TV and we're in our own worlds. We're not even really conscious of the other person's presence.
Mm.
And we can be doing activities together without talking to each other and feel more connected than we do sometimes when we talk, depending upon the quality of the communication. Are we talking just about things that need to be done to take care of the kids, tasks, responsibilities? Or are we really expressing things that are meaningful and personal to our own experience? Are we open with each other? Are we receiving each other? Are we communicating from a place of honesty?
These are all beautiful thoughts. We have to wrap up now, but just a last thought here, Ulrika from Sweden, Stockholm. Just the presence of each other is really nice. Thanks for all your comments, everyone. Guess what? You can meet and practice and learn with Charlie and Linda in person at Esalen. Secrets of a Great Relationship, Secrets of Great Relationships. We want to include everybody in that for individuals and couples. You'll learn a lot. Their workshop's coming up October 29th through 31st at Esalen, esalen.org/visit/workshop. And I will also post the link in this social post. We have been with Linda and Charlie Bloom. Send them a little love. They gave us so much great advice. Can I just ask you what you guys are binge watching right now?
Well,
Well, I frequently, more nights than not, watch Netflix movies with Charlie. He prefers the documentaries, and I go for the love stories. And he indulges me with my love stories, which he calls sometimes chick flicks, and I indulge him with documentaries. But we're both confident that we don't use our screens, the TV or the films that we watch, to avoid any topics that we need to be dealing with. And so we can hold hands and we can cuddle while we watch like teenagers and get a big kick out of it and know that it enhances our relationships, doesn't take away.
Date night. All good. Alice, Amy, Jean, everyone on the chat, thank you for all your comments and questions. This is Esalen Live. Have a great day, everybody. Love everyone a lot.